Good evening, race fans. Welcome to tonight's FEG PC.net sponsored Cup Series here at the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. On behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcast, I'm James East up in the booth, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second. And looking forward to a fun night out here today as all these drivers getting ready with their warm-up, getting ready to go back out there and trying to tame this very tricky racetrack, and it is a special night here tonight at New Hampshire Speedway as the chase begins here for the FEG PC Cup Series, running every Wednesday night. Top 8 drivers make the chase tonight, and it's going to be a good one. We have a few drivers kind of taking the night off, knowing, hey, we're already locked into the chase pretty comfortably. But right now, up front for the chase, it's Matthew Lee first in points, Jose Medina running second, Chad Ross running third in points, Matthew Curry fourth, James Kaufman running fifth, Kenneth McCullough Jr. running sixth, Stephen Page finds himself in seventh, William Lothar, he's on the bubble in the 8th place points position. Only the top 8 make it to the chase. Then you've got Joseph Burgess and Kyle Rochelle sitting on in 9 and 10th. So those are the two drivers on the bubble trying to get out there and see what they can do. But let's get ready as lone qualifying is underway. And William Lothar is going to be the first driver to take to the track in the number 47 machine on these next-gen NASCAR Cup cars. Lothar, one of our favorite Canadians. He's running the number 47 Ford Mustang, the GT. Let's see what he can do around this very, very tough racetrack. Smaller grids here tonight. Only 8 drivers able to show up. But again, some of the guys knowing, hey, I'm locked into the chase. I don't need to show up to secure my spot. So I believe that's why you may see guys like Matthew Lee not able to make it. But other than that, everybody out here trying to get that bubble spot and make something happen. A definitely tighter track than a lot of these drivers are used to. Very, very tight. It's a little over 1.05 miles as William Lothar takes a hard hit early on. And that's going to bring his qualifying run to a quick stop. Let's check out Jose Medina in the number 24 machine. Try and get this everything updated here. Drivers have only 2 fast laps out here at New Hampshire to get everything dialed in and get back out there. Matthew Curry, James Kaufman, Jose Medina, they're on track right now. William Lothar is going to go back out, see if he can put down at least one good time lapse and try and get a better grid position. With only 8 cars here today, everyone's going to be battling hard for those transfer spots. As we see Jose Medina in the very shiny number 24 machine, that Tecate-sponsored machine. And I believe he may be one of the first drivers to put down a time here for single car qualifying. Only a 5-minute quali with 2 laps for all these drivers to put down the best lap time they possibly can. But here in New Hampshire, it's going to be a game of tire saving. Who is going to be able to push when they need to and keep a little tires in reserve for when they need to make some passes. Jose Medina, he goes out strong, puts down a 30.86, but quickly gets edged out by Matthew Curry, the number 51, with a 30.78. Lothar was able to put down a timed lap, a 31.8 despite that opening crash. So he came in, grabbed a new car from the hauler, and went back out. Well, let's see, can Jose Medina pass Matthew Curry, James Kaufman with a 31.13, getting a little bit quicker, more comfortable. And look at that, Stephen Page right out of the gate drops a 36.4. And Curry comes back and answers with a 30.58. So a lot of these drivers absolutely hanging out in qualifying. Not much is separating them so far with single car qualifying. Stephen Page with a 36.4 his last time by. Let's see what he does here, crossing the start-finish line. Page puts down a 30.89, so unable to best his previous time of a 36.4. Matthew currently on top of provisional pole with a 30.58. Still have 3 drivers that have not put down qualifying laps. That's Kenneth McCullough Jr. in the number 4. You've got Chad Ross in the 38. And Joseph Burgess in the number 19, who have not put down qualifying times yet. They've got about a minute and a half still left in qualifying, so I'm not sure if we're going to see those drivers go out as Stephen Page takes the alternative line through the road course here in New Hampshire. Page just as good at turning right as he is turning left, and maybe that's probably a very interesting pit-in technique, but he made it look good. And we're going to wait and see, does Kenneth McCullough Jr., Chad Ross, Joseph Burgess put down a qualifying time, or are they going to be happy gritting up 6th, 7th, and 8th, respectively? They've got about a minute left, so I don't think we're going to see a quali from those drivers. As always, I'd like to thank the guys over at FEGPC.net for having us out in the broadcast booth. 2 times a week, we cover their Truck Series on Mondays and their Cup Series on Wednesdays. They are one of the lead providers in custom-built desktops and gaming computers for sim enthusiasts, iRacing, Microsoft Flight Sim, DCS, you name it, any hard-use application you need to run on a custom-built rig, and they can get it to you at a reasonable cost. So again, thank you, FEGPC.net, tonight's title sponsor for this New Hampshire Throwdown. Qualifying is going to come to an end. Let's take it to the grid for tonight's event. It's going to be Matthew Curry starting on pole, Stephen Page starting second, Jose Medina starting third, James Kaufman will be starting on the 4th place spot today, William Lothar, the fast Canadian, he's starting 5th, Chad Ross starting 6th, Kenneth McCullough Jr. 7th, and then Joseph Burgess will round out our field here at New Hampshire. A pretty light turnout here tonight, but again, a lot of that can be attributed to certain guys who have already made it very comfortably with their points lead. But some guys, Stephen Page, William Lothar, those are the guys right on the bubble. And then you've also got Joseph Burgess and Kyle Rochelle not able to make it tonight as well. So Burgess is going to be charging hard, trying to gain some points. Look for Burgess and Lothar to be battling hard. Burgess finds himself about 32 points back from Lothar, so he's knowing, hey, I got to finish pretty high up in tonight's main event and try and keep that car clean, maybe score some bonus points with some laps led to chip away at those drivers in front of him. Burgess has Lothar with about 30, finds himself at a 32-point disadvantage and a 39-point disadvantage to Stephen Page, who's currently in 7th. Page and Lothar both swapped points positions last week. We're going to get all these drivers gridded up and ready to go at this little bit over 1 mile raceway. Expect to see some of these guys using the bumper as the run progresses. They've got 100 laps to make it happen, but some of these guys are going to be battling hard for that top spot, trying to get the transfer. Expecting a lot of good action here today. Still waiting for, I believe, one driver. That might be Joseph Burgess in the number 19, waiting to take the grid. Again, Burgess is in 9th in points, so he definitely wants to get out there and score some points. We don't want to see a DNS from the number 19, or that will all but ruin his chances of a chase here today. We've had a little bit less storms than we had in the past, so that's a good thing. We've been seeing storms hit the East Coast pretty much the entire last week, from Georgia all the way up to Connecticut. iRacing drivers from across the country, but especially the East Coast, having a little bit of issues. But we're going to get ready to get them started. Keep an eye out on Matthew Curry. He's going to be on the inside line, the number 51. To his right, you've got Stephen Page, the second row. James Kaufman, Jose Medina. They're going to be battling very, very hard. And I'm not quite sure what happened to the number 19, Joseph Burgess. If he is unable to make the grid, that is going to lock in our chase competitors here for the FEG PC Cup Series. But here we go, race fans. The iRacing Pace Truck is going to lead them by one more time. And then it is time to get the show started. Stephen Page with a great launch. Matthew Curry with a great launch. Stephen Page seems like he got caught napping there for a second. Maybe didn't expect Curry to get the launch that he did, but now Stephen Page has Jose Medina, James Kaufman right in tow with only 7 drivers, I believe, making the field. These guys just have to finish and finish well to get into the chase here for the FEG PC Cup Series. And going to be interesting to see what type of tough driving we see from these guys, if they're going to be happy following single line and clicking off some laps. We saw both in practice and in qualifying, some of these drivers had a bit of a tough time getting around the racetrack and doing so quickly, as there were spin outs, lighting up the rear tires coming out of turns 2 and 4 are a couple of the trickier spots where guys have been, I don't want to say struggling, but having a harder time than normal holding on to those high horsepower machines with the low downforce package. Right now it's still Matthew Curry out front, Stephen Page second, Jose Medina third. And they've got a bit of a gap to the second pack here, which is going to be Kaufman, Ross, McCullough, and Lothar. Let's take it back. Look at the second pack on the racetrack. There's James Kaufman. Behind him in view, you've got Chad Ross in the 38 machine. And then even a little bit further back, you've got Kenneth McCullough Jr. in his Camaro, and he's chased by William Lothar in the number 47 Mustang. Matthew Curry, our current race leader, has put down the fastest lap of the race so far, a 30.74. So he's getting more comfortable once the tires come in and able to push a little bit further. But tire wear, definitely the name of the game here tonight at New Hampshire. As this is this small, tight track, drivers find themselves pushing a little hard and a little too early at times. And then next thing you know, you can really burn up that front right tire, and these race cars will start plowing to the outside wall. Once the rubber gets really worn in and tight, it makes it harder to really tip into the corners. And that front right will start sliding up the racetrack, unable to maintain the traction these drivers want. And if they're not careful, they can find themselves getting a little bit too close for comfort into the outside wall. And once you damage a race car, it's tough to get it fixed in time and get back out there. 7 drivers on the field right now, still about 3 packs. You've got Curry, Page, Medina, the front row. You've got Chad Ross, Kenneth McCullough Jr. running very close together, and then James Kaufman and William Lothar are running together in 6th and 7th. Matthew Curry, though, he's got it all dialed in that number 51 machine. That Toyota Camry doing a fantastic job getting around the racetrack and making it look easy. His last time by was a 30.97 compared to Page, who did a 30.85. Going to be curious to see who's able to save the most tires here at New Hampshire. At this rate, if they can keep it green, it could be a quick race for these drivers, unless we see a late run caution, because right now they're just clicking them off slow and steady the entire field, averaging about 31 seconds a lap. We're going to take you on board with Kenneth McCullough Jr., who's currently in 4th place and trying to charge up front, and just listen to how they're having to attack these corners and make something happen here. So that's an onboard with Kenneth McCullough Jr. He's running the number 4 machine tonight. And what's really interesting is listen to these drivers very tentatively get on the throttle, kind of paddling it just a little bit, coming out of turns 1 and 3. They want to keep the car rotating underneath them, but they don't want to give it too much gas too early on. It's a fine line between traction and finding yourself spinning out. As Kenneth McCullough Jr. does a good job, and he does a 31.3 his last time by, and I believe Joseph Burgess is going to come out a little bit late. He finds himself down by about 10 laps right now as the leaders are clicking off lap 10, but good to see Burgess getting out there and trying to make that bubble, but unfortunately he's going to have to hope for a crash at this point, as he's missed 10% of the race trying to get up there and make something happen. Jose Medina, he still finds himself about a half second back from Stephen Page. He found himself about 0.2 seconds faster than Page his last time by. So far, so good. These drivers not having to hang it out as much in this race than they did in practice and qualifying, knowing for the most part, unless Burgess can pull off something miraculous, everyone currently running on track, sans Burgess, will be able to make it to the chase, as all of these drivers have been very consistent all season long. Everybody doing a great job keeping it clean. And I mean, all season long, we've had spectacular racing from our guys. This week we're at New Hampshire. Next week for Chase Round 1, we find ourselves at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for 75 laps. Last week we were at Atlanta Motor Speedway, where you saw Kyle Rochelle bring it home for the third time this season. So Rochelle kind of joined a little bit late. He will not be in the points chase due to missing so many rounds, but a great job to Rochelle. He's been very, very fast when he's been able to show up. So good to see the part-time driver getting here and doing well. Rochelle was in 10th place. He statistically knew he did not have a great chance at making the chase, but with 4 starts and 3 wins, Rochelle had a great season tonight. And a shame we won't see him out here today running with the rest of the FEG PC Cup drivers. Stephen Page currently in second. He's about 0.3 seconds back from race leader Matthew Curry. Now it's odd, Curry's actually got some of the slower laps, but I believe we do have an incident. Not sure if the caution is going to come out, as Joseph Burgess was able to get it back into pit lane, but Burgess did have a pit. Had to rapidly pit after an early incident on his 3rd lap. So Burgess just not having the night that he really wanted here today, as the driver of the number 19 is probably going to be stuck in the pit for a little while. So Burgess at this point has just got to be hoping and praying that someone else crashes much worse than he has. He's about 11 laps down, so he's got to really hope somebody crashes before that lap 88 mark, so he can get back out there, burn some laps, and try and gain a position. But that's assuming he gets out right now. So let's see if Burgess is able to get back out there. And I don't think he is. I think Burgess is going to call it for the night, take it back to the hauler. Matthew Curry, now he gets in the wall. The race leader, Matthew Curry, gets in the wall. That's going to allow Jose Medina and Stephen Page to get around. So now Page is going to be in the lead. Medina in second in the number 24. Definitely a game of people trying not to cook tires too early on. As you see, Matthew Curry just got a little bit tight in the number 51 machine. Hits the outside wall. I believe that was going into 1. And he's going to find himself shuffled back to 3rd. Curry still has about a 2-second gap over 4th place Kent McCullough Jr. But we said early on the broadcast, it just takes one little moment and you can find yourself having a very rough night. As unfortunately, Curry was the 2nd victim to a wall here in New Hampshire. Stephen Page, his last time by was a 31.46. Medina put down a 31.53. Let's see what Curry can do once he gets back up to pace, if that damage to the front right of the number 51 is going to affect him as the run progresses. And the other question I'm going to have is, how often are these guys going to come in for tires? I don't think it's going to be a fuel-burning night. I think it's going to be a battle of tires. Who can keep them underneath them and keep those Goodyears as fresh as physically possible? Jose Medina, the number 24, trying to catch up to Stephen Page. He's still about 0.3 seconds back as they cross the line. Page with a 31.74, Medina with a 31.71, so almost identical lap times. Meanwhile, Curry has fallen slightly off the pace. He did a 32.49 his last time by. So I'm not sure if Curry pushed the tires a little bit too early trying to keep that gap. But let's see, how long can Stephen Page and Jose Medina keep it going, as Medina dives to the inside line coming out of 4. It will be a drag race to the start-finish line, but it looks like Medina is going to get his first lap led here today at New Hampshire. And Stephen Page will get shuffled back to 2nd. Medina is 2nd place in points for the overall championship. Out of 7 starts, he only has 2 top 5s, has yet to claim a victory here for the FEG PC Cup Series. His 2 highest finishes were 4th place. one at Atlanta and one at Talladega, where he got fourth at both of those rounds for the double header, I believe that one was. And he's had, for the most part, very consistent runs. I don't think he's finished outside the top 8 all season long. Usually finds himself finishing around the 6th place mark. So good to see Medina out here charging hard and getting some laps led here at New Hampshire. The only other laps he's led were 18 laps for Daytona and 5 laps for Atlanta. So he's going to rack up a little bit of statistic buffers here tonight as they make their way around and get ready to click off about a quarter of the way through tonight's race. And Medina still driving great, has started increasing that gap over second place Stephen Page. It is up to about 0.4 seconds as they sit going down the backstretch, diving it into turn 3 and 4. And really slowing those race cars up to make these very tight corners at New Hampshire. Something you may see out of these drivers tonight is drivers adjusting the in-car brake bias as the run develops. They are pretty hard on the brakes going into turn 1 and turn 3. And if they adjust that brake bias to the rear brake system, so normally you want as much brake on the front to slow the car down, much like your automobile at home. If you shift it to the rear, it doesn't slow down the car as quickly. But if you do a little bit of trail braking, which is dragging the brake all the way to the apex, it'll help rotate that car to the left and get you aligned back up. Now, it is a very, very fine line between rotating just enough to make the corner and rotating so much you find yourself spinning around like a top. But those drivers are one of those little tools of the trade that these guys are going to be using to get everything dialed in for them and maybe try and pick up a little bit more speed. Medina right now as well in the championship leading up to the chase. He is only 9 points behind Matthew Lee, so if he can just stay out here and run consistent all night, don't get me wrong, a first would be fantastic for the number 24 Medina, but he's looking pretty good to be the highest points finisher going into the chase for next week. And that's got to be feeling good for him as he's doing a great job. And if he can score a top 3 here in New Hampshire, that'd be huge for the driver of 24, but a 1 would be absolutely fantastic. Now, Indianapolis also going to be a very, very fun race next week. Same time, same place. Where that one, it'll be the top 8 for the chase and make it to the cut. And then we'll go to Michigan on July 28th for the championship round, where the top 4 will be scored. Medina doing a great job out front, the number 24 machine. Yeah, California native doing a great job at New Hampshire. Behind him, he still has Stephen Page as the number 1. He's still got about a half second over second place Page right now. And pretty much the top 3 running identical times. Medina did a 32.08, Page a 32.05, and McCullough a 32.05. James McCullough Jr., a Georgia native in the number 4 Camaro, finds himself in third place, about 4.6 seconds back from the lead 2 drivers, Medina and Page. Behind him, he's got Chad Ross in the 38, about 1.8 seconds back. But that last lap, McCullough put down one of the faster times, a 32.19, as the entire field getting progressively slower as the tire wear really starts to come in. They are about 1.5 seconds slower than what they did earlier on with their fresh Goodyears underneath them. And if I was a betting man, I think you'll see guys coming in between the lap 35 and 40 mark just for the sake of tires to get back out there. And that's where things can get very exciting for the drivers as they get used to driving these tight race cars lap after lap. And then they go out with those 4 fresh Goodyears and suddenly the car is a whole lot looser. All your braking marks have changed. The machines will be much more responsive to stepping out the rear coming off the gas. And you can find yourself in a pretty exciting moment very quickly until those tires start to scuff in and get warmed up. Medina still out front, the number 24. He's got Stephen Page hot on his heels. Page, number 1, is doing his best to get back up there, make something happen. Page, one of those bubble drivers, in 7th place. His highest career finish so far this season was Dover, where he scored a 2nd place finish, but Page has, until tonight, has not had any laps led. And doing a great job making up there. We know we want to see the number 1 car up front and make something happen. But right now, he's going to be stuck watching the rear bumper of the number 24 Tecate-sponsored machine. William Lothar is going to be one of the first drivers into pit lane, coming in on lap 29:30. Matthew Curry does not come in. It looked like it was for a brief moment. So let's see, last time by, Stephen Page put down a 32.7 compared to Medina's 32.94. So both of those drivers, really everybody out there on track right now, really feeling the burn of tire wear. As Stephen Page, the number 1, gets very loose coming out of turn 2, able to hold on to it, but starting to have a little bit of a moment, trying to get on that throttle just a little bit earlier, make something happen. Page is starting to whittle down that gap just a little bit. They're going to be about 0.3 seconds apart going into turns 1 and 2. Matthew Curry, he's going to bring it into pit lane in the number 51. So interesting to see how long these top 2 drivers, of Medina out front and Stephen Page in 2nd, how long they're going to hang it out and keep going. And then we did have a little bit of a pass, as I think Kenneth McCullough Jr. had a big moment. Finds himself in the wall. Let's see if we can get a replay of that one for you. So it looks like McCullough might have had some mechanical maybe. Yeah, just cuts it hard right in the number 4. Not quite sure what happened, but that sure looks like a hardware malfunction to me, as we expect to see McCullough coming into pit lane pretty soon to try and get some damage repaired on the number 4 machine. Hopefully he's able to get whatever problem he had dialed in so he can get back out there. He's been running great tonight, currently in 4th. Lost that 3rd place spot to Chad Ross with, again, I'm going to be pretty safe here calling it a hardware incident. Stephen Page still stalking his prey of Jose Medina in the number 24 machine. Matthew Curry with a very long pit, as well as William Lothar. Not sure if those drivers are repairing some machines or what might be going on there. Stephen Page looks like he has a bit of a run on the 24. Jose Medina. Medina able to get a little bit more traction down going the start-finish line straight, but they're going to dive it into turn 1 together. Stephen Page looked like he was getting set up for a pass and then maybe not able to put the power down like he really wanted to. And you can see how loose the number 1, Stephen Page, is getting out of the corners. That is a telltale sign of him trying to get on the gas as early as possible, try and get the best run possible. But he has to worry that may cook up a little bit of more tires than he's expecting. But here he goes again. Page is going to look to the inside of Jose Medina. Medina still has about a 1.5 car gap on him going into turn 1, so I don't think Page is going to be able to make it happen. Now, the good thing for these drivers with a smaller field, you're going to see a little bit less aggressive driving from the competitors. They know, hey, not a whole lot of stress being put on us. We can make passes when we need to. Matthew Curry, William Lothar still in their pit boxes. But we got a great race for the lead out front. Jose Medina, Stephen Page putting on a show of their own. Page doing his best to get that inside line work, and they're going to go side by side down the start-finish straight. But can Medina hold him off going into 1? Looks like Page is going to play it safe, back off just a little bit in the Bass Pro Shop sponsored number 1 machine. And there goes Page to the inside. He's going to get back out front, get around Jose Medina, but who can get the best drive down the back stretch? It looks like it's going to be Page once more, and Page is going to get some more laps led here at the New Hampshire Speedway, as we are about 40% through the racetrack. Both of these drivers driving very, very well, putting on a show for all the fans at home. And then what happened to Medina here? Medina falls way, way back. He's about 1.3 seconds behind. And then look at that, Stephen Page gets into the wall, the number 1 machine. He gets tight going into 1, starts to plow up the racetrack. He's going to do it again on the back stretch. These guys are really, really struggling to hold on to these machines as the tires really get worn out. I expect to see Page and Medina coming in pretty soon here, and he is. Stephen Page is going to come in. Will Jose Medina follow him in? He is. So that's the top 2 leaders, 1 and 2, coming down pit lane. I don't know if Page is going to stay in any extra to try and repair some of the optional damage. You see the side of the number 1, very battle worn as we get closer to the halfway mark. Page is coming in. Kaufman's going to stay out. He's going to get some laps led here in New Hampshire. Now, Kaufman has not come in so far today. He has stayed out on his original set of tires, trying to get a couple laps led under his belt. And then let's see what these pit times look like for the leaders, Page and Medina. Looks like Page is going to stay in and get some optional repairs done. That will allow Jose Medina to get a pretty big gap on Page, as Page has been in the booth already about 15 seconds longer than Medina was. So Stephen Page is going to leave after 31.3 seconds in his box compared to Medina's 14.9. That will be a huge disadvantage for the number 1 coming back out on track. Now Medina, he's got James Kaufman about 19.5 seconds in front of him. Medina's done a great job so far keeping the paint scheme of that Tecate-sponsored 24 clean so far out here today. But let's see what he can do with fresh tires. He's got to be very careful coming out from a previously very rough to drive car with how tight it was. And now suddenly he's going to find himself with gobs of traction, especially when the tires come in 2 laps after his pit stop. James Kaufman's going to bring it into pit lane. So now you've got Medina out front. Chad Ross will take over 2nd place. And then I believe Stephen Page will take over 3rd place as Kaufman's still in the pits. Kaufman's coming out after a 14-second pit stop, so he took 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas. So that means we're going to expect to see these guys come in anywhere between the lap 65 to 80 mark. Our drivers that pitted on lap 39 to 40. Everybody except for Matthew Curry was in and out around the lap 37 to 41 mark. Both Medina, Ross, and Page all came in on 39. Kaufman came in on 41. Curry came in on 32. And then McCullough came in on 37 after that hit into the outside wall with what we think was a hardware issue. These drivers clicking off the laps. Medina did a 31.2 his last time by, so despite having new tires, not willing to push it super hard aggressively. He knows he has a very large gap over 2nd place Chad Ross, and he's going to stay out as long as he can on this set of tires, try and save a little bit of fuel, and definitely try and save some tires, as he's going to enjoy some lap sled here at New Hampshire, padding those stats before we go into the Chase playoff. That's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it, as we try and get some big grids back out here into the Chase. Let's see what Medina does this time by in the number 24. His last was a 31.54. Doing a great job going fast but not being too risky. Meanwhile, 2nd place Chad Ross, he's doing 31.15, and Stephen Page did a 31 flat. Page and Ross know they're at a disadvantage here, that they've got to push very fast as quickly as they can to try and get back up to the front. But they do find themselves in a pretty comfortable position, knowing, hey, we're in the top 3 right now. We can make the chase as long as we stay out there and keep the car shiny and the tires underneath us. Take a look at Stephen Page in the number 1 machine. That right side, again, very battle worn. We saw him get tight early on and couldn't get away from the wall, almost getting sucked back into it after fighting that tight race car that put him up in the turn 2 and the backstretch. He kind of pinballed it back and forth against it for a little while. Chad Ross currently running second in the number 38 machine. He finds himself about 10 seconds back from race leader Jose Medina. Ross still is up 4 spots tonight, so doing a great job running hard and pushing up the field. They get ready to cross the halfway mark here at New Hampshire in just a couple laps. Behind Ross, I believe that is Kenneth McCullough Jr., who is a couple laps down, a few laps down now. McCullough came in and tried to get a bunch of repairs done on that number 4 machine. Chad Ross, a Florida native, he's been very consistent all season long when not having his season marred by bad luck, but good to see him out here making sure he can secure that spot in the chase. Now Ross is currently 3rd in points with 7 starts so far. He is also one of those drivers chasing that overall win. He's had a pretty good race season, all things considered. His only average incidents per race is a little under 3 incident points. And he's led 6 laps so far this season. So Ross happy to be out there putting down some more clean laps, keeping the 38 nice and shiny. Always running that black and almost a baby blue or teal color on his machine. New Hampshire, one of those historic NASCAR tracks, originally broke ground in August 13th, 1989, and officially opened June 5th, 1990. They've hosted Cup Series, Xfinity Series, they've hosted the Camping World Truck Series, and they've even hosted a few little motorcycle races at the Luton Classic. A very tough track for a lot of these drivers. A little bit similar to the Milwaukee Mile, but a little bit more banked, I would say. So less flat and I don't want to say easier to drive, but maybe less technical than that heavy braking track. But up front, it's going to be Jose Medina in first, Chad Ross in second, Stephen Page in third. We're going to run to a quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more action here at the Team Goon Squad broadcasting channel. Welcome back to the action, ladies and gentlemen. Jose Medina still out front, clicking off laps in the number 24 machine. Chad Ross has started to whittle away at that gap just a little bit. Finds himself about 9 seconds back in second place. Both these drivers running, really all the top 4 drivers running very similar times. Medina with a 31.66, Ross with a 31.69. You've got third place, Stephen Page with a 31.97. And then fourth place, James Kaufman with a 31.88. All the drivers in the lead lap being smooth and consistent here in New Hampshire, and that's definitely the name of the game, as everyone wants to get through unscathed, try and get back out there and salvage some points. As we still have 7 drivers out on track. Joseph Burgess, number 19, he unfortunately showed up late and then had an early incident, so I believe he has parked it for the night. So again, really hate to see it for Burgess, as he's one of the drivers on the bubble trying to make it to the chase. But Jose Medina's got to be feeling great in the number 24 car, doing a great job keeping that Tecate sponsored machine nice and clean. Able to keep the tires underneath them, not tightening up too much, and maintain a good overall speed here in New Hampshire. About 42 laps left remaining, and so far we've kept it green all the way around. Those drivers doing a great job staying very consistent and not having any issues here so far. We saw a couple of guys get a little bit tight, hit that outside wall going into turn 1 and turn 3 are the tricky spots. They dive down deep into those 2 corners and find themselves pushing up the racetrack. But Medina, he's been able to keep those good years underneath him all night long, staying very consistent, not losing too much time in his runs, and is showing he's got what it takes to belong in the chase with so many talented drivers. Medina, he will definitely be one to watch in the chase, as he is going to absolutely hang it out when we go to Indianapolis next week. Indianapolis, that's a very fun track to drive and to call. It is more of a square-shaped oval, so not the 1.5-mile cookie cutter, definitely not a super speedway, and every corner drives just a little bit differently. Doesn't matter if you're in one of the next-gen Cup cars, one of the current-gen Cup cars, or even the Gander Mountain trucks. It's a deceptively technical track, I think is the best way to describe it. You have to have a plan for every single corner to get through nice and clean, but the question now is for everybody watching along at home, what lap do we see these drivers come in for possibly their second and final pit stop? We saw most of the field come in between that lap 37 and 41 mark. So will that mean we're going to see Medina come in around the lap 78, 79, 80 mark if he's able to hold on to the tires? Or maybe come in a little bit earlier, get some fresh rubber underneath them, and then go back out there and attack this racetrack? As always, I'd like to thank everybody at home who tunes in each and every week to support their favorite drivers. If you have a favorite driver you're cheering on for, let us know. We try and give as much TV time to all of our athletes as we possibly can, because that helps them grow their sponsorship, helps them expose who's supporting them on and off the track. Obviously helps out your favorite driver and helps out your favorite league as well, the FEG PC Cup Series. Without those guys hosting it, we would not be having as much fun as we do every Wednesday night, as William Lothar able to get around Kenneth McCullough Jr. Chad Ross still doing a respectable job in second place in the number 38 machine. His last lap was a 32.19, so he's right about 1 second slower than his best lap of the race so far. Ross definitely hasn't had the most blazing fast time of the race with a 31.13 compared to the fastest car was a 30.74 of Matthew Curry. But he's been very consistent all race long, keeping those tires underneath him and able to keep charging along. And so far, that's going to keep him up in second place. He's got about a 4-second gap that is very slowly dwindling to Stephen Page in the number 1 machine. Page finds himself about 1/10 of a lap faster than Chad Ross that last time by. And just trying to stay very smooth as long as he can. Page clicks off a 32.42 his last time by, so he is going to lose a little bit of time here to Chad Ross. Chad Ross going to be able to extend that gap just a little bit, as Ross put down a 31.85 his last time by. Jose Medina, your current race leader, with a 32 flat his last time by. So this is the point in the run where all these drivers are really feeling the tire wear, starting to really slow down, and then kind of finding themselves really battling these race cars to get all the way around. But man, the story of the night's definitely going to be Jose Medina. He's doing a fantastic job in the 24. He's been out front all night long and did not have any damage on that car, which allowed him to get in and out of the pits much faster than Stephen Page, who he was battling with. If you're just tuning in, Jose Medina, his last pit stop was a little shy of 15 seconds compared to the number 1 machine, Stephen Page, who did a 31.32 in his pit box. So that really forced Page to know, hey, I've got to make up a lot of time here with only about 33 laps remaining. Medina still finds himself with 11.5 second gap over Chad Ross, and it only keeps getting better for the driver of the 24, as he's been very, very consistent keeping those tires underneath him. We're expecting him to pit anywhere between laps 70 and 80 is what we're expecting the 24 to come in. But we know how it is with race car drivers. Always expect the unexpected. You still have the 4 drivers on the lead lap. Matthew Curry, number 51, he finds himself a lap down. Curry came in for quite a while earlier on. Not sure if he had something going on or maybe trying to sort out some problems, but I believe Burgess, McCullough, and Lothar may have parked it for the night. They have, so it's going to be Medina out front, Ross second, Page third, Kaufman fourth, and then Curry is going to find himself 5 laps down with about 30 laps to go once Medina crosses the line. It is right now Medina's race to win or lose. If he can keep that car underneath him, he's looking very, very good for a race win here tonight. But as we've seen strike other drivers, it just takes a little bit of mental lapse, and you can find yourself hitting the outside wall with quite the aggression. But Medina, he's done probably one of the best jobs all night long, keeping that car clean and keeping the racetrack green. And he's going to get ready to start his 71st lap here at New Hampshire, driving the wheels off that 24. And the biggest thing, Medina's been probably the consistently fastest guy. I mean, yes, he got a little bit lucky with Stephen Page tagging the wall and having to come in for that extended pit stop, but Medina absolutely clicking him off. His last time by was a 32.09. We see Chad Ross initiating his pit stop on lap 71, so he's going to come in a little bit earlier than race leader Jose Medina. Medina does have a little bit of lap traffic in front of him to contend with. That is James Kaufman. But let's see, Medina does stay out. He's got to be very careful getting around Kaufman, trying to put him a lap down. These guys pretty much on the same tire set. Medina came in a lap 39. Kaufman came in a lap 41. But Medina doing such a spectacular job here tonight, keeping those tires underneath them and keeping that average lap time down all the way through the run. Chad Ross exits pit lane after a 4-tire and fuel pit stop. And Medina, he says, hey, I'm comfortable up here. Let's run this thing down as long as we can. And Medina, he's got a huge gap over second place right now. Stephen Page finds himself at a 20-second disadvantage. And most importantly, Page is about a second a lap slower than Medina is right now. So Medina doing a great job keeping those tires underneath him and just taking it nice and easy, not trying to burn up any tires, as he will be on lap 74 once he crosses the line. Again, we're expecting Medina, the number 24, to come in any time in the next 5-6 laps, but he's doing a great job keeping his tires underneath it. Let's take it on board with him and listen to how he's making his way around this racetrack. That was a lap with the race leader, Jose Medina, in the number 24 machine. You can hear him just babying that throttle through the corners, keeping that a little bit of traction down via the gas pedal. these race machines, the suspension, with how it's made to work, it is made to work either on the gas or on the brakes. If you're just coasting through corners, it allows the suspension to get a little bit, I guess floaty is the best way to describe it. And it's most happy when you're either you're actually driving the race car. I mean, that's the same with pretty much any motor vehicle, motorcycle racing, you name it. It's either brakes or gas and not a whole lot of in between. So a little bit of maintenance throttle for the 24 coming out of turns 2 and turn 4. And he is still charging hard, doing a great job with 25 laps to go here at New Hampshire. And right now, it is number 24's race to lose because he's out there clicking off some fantastic lap times. That's number 51, I believe, in front of a Matthew Curry, who is several laps down. Medina gets around safe and sound, no worries. That's got to be a nail biter for the number 24, knowing, hey, it just takes one mental lapse, not just from me, but someone else on this racetrack, and I can find myself with a ruined race so late in a run after such hard work. And Medina, I mean, he is really doing a great job with the tires, tire wear tonight. His last time by was a 32.41. Most of the field on older tires currently clicking off high to mid to high 33-second laps. Now Medina's best of the race was a 30.92, so we know the number 24 can hot lap. But right now he's showing what it takes to keep saving those tires, stay out as long as he possibly can. As he is on lap 78 as he crosses the line, 22 laps to go. Can Medina keep this tire wear strategy underneath him and do a good job? It looks like the 24 is starting to tighten up more and more going to the corners, but you'll see Medina get off the gas earlier and earlier going into turns 1 and turn 3. Really backing up those entry marks. You see the brake markers on the right side of the racetrack. Different reference points for these drivers. It could be a light pole. It could be a car parked in the same spot every time you come around. But drivers will use all that information from their peripheral vision and decide where they're going to get their marks and when to start moving them back. As I believe we saw somebody else coming into pit lane. That's Matthew Curry, currently running in 5th place. He's going to come in, take 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas. Meanwhile, it's just Medina and Page who came in on that lap 39 who decided to stay out. And they're going to run out till those gas tanks are all the way bone dry. $20 laps to go. We're expecting Medina to come in pretty soon. He came in on lap 39 for tires and fuel. I think this run he's going to stretch it out as long as he possibly can because the gap over 2nd place is getting bigger every time he stays out. Medina is trying to do his best to get all the way around the field. That would be the most impressive win I think the 24 has gotten in one of the FEG PC series. $19 laps to go as they cross the line. Medina still out front. Page 2nd, Kaufman in 3rd. With Chad Ross in 4th, Matthew Curry 5th. And these guys are all battling for the best finish they possibly can. Scoring those points before we go into the chase next week at Indianapolis. Jose Medina, he put down a 32.67, so it's hard to tell, but the number 24 machine is getting a little bit progressively slower each and every lap, but he's doing such a good job of just very, very slowly losing time, and that's really the ticket on these long runs for NASCAR drivers. It's not about putting down the quickest lap of the race. It's about being consistently just a little bit faster than your competition as the tire wear starts to come in and driver fatigue starts to come in. 100 laps in New Hampshire, you're white-knuckling those machines all the way around. Now, Medina and Page do have the luxury of being able to relax just a little bit. They don't have many people in front or behind them that they have to battle for contention with, not really worried about getting bump drafted or punted out of the way for position. So it allows those drivers to kind of relax their fingers a little bit in the start-finish line, take a deep breath, and then get right back to game mode going into the corners. Stephen Page, he's still staying out as well in the number 1. He boxed last on lap 39. Again, Page had that twice as long pit stop in the number 1. The right side of the number 1, he's got a lot of damage on it from getting tight and hitting the wall. Let's see if we can get you a shot of that one as he makes his way around. But Page came in, decided to take a little bit of repairs, maybe get the machine fixed. That way, if he did have any damage to the front end, maybe a cracked radiator or something, his crew could get it fixed and get him back out there. And there's a good shot of the side damage of the number 1. The damage it sustained early on in the night. But look at this. Here comes Jose Medina, race leader. He's going to try and lap all the way through the field as Stephen Page gives him the high line, allows Medina to take the preferred line down low. And Medina, the number 24, has lapped the entire field with 24 laps to go. Well done to Medina, driving the wheels off that 24. He's got to be losing it inside his helmet right now. 15 laps to go. At this point, I'm wondering, are we going to see Medina stretch it all the way out and try and make it on a one-stop strategy? I don't know how much fuel the number 24 still has left in the tank. He's got lap traffic behind him. That's Matthew Curry, the number 51. Curry is coming out on fresh tires. He pitted on lap 73. So almost twice as new tires as Jose Medina, who's running first right now. You can expect to see Medina to give Matthew Curry the preferred line if they're communicating back and forth or having their crew chiefs and spotters communicate. And Medina's going to allow Matthew Curry to get a lap back, as we have a big blink, I think, from Jose Medina. That's something he's going to have to keep an eye on. That would be the absolute worst thing that he wants going on right now. He's having such a dominant run here today. The last thing he wants to see is a little bit of connectivity issues mess with his day. Because the number 24 has been the dominant car all night long. Chad Ross worked his way back up to the lead lap. He pitted last on lap 79. He's got 13 laps to make something happen. He finds himself about 1.3 seconds, 1.5 seconds faster than Jose Medina, 1.7 seconds. Unless Chad Ross can really get on the gas here, he's not going to have enough laps to get back around the racetrack and battle with Jose Medina. We're going to take a look at Chad Ross, who's going to be driving the wheels off that 38 machine. If I'm doing my math right, at the current splits, he will have himself about 5 laps short to go all the way around and still get back in time. But this is a last-ditch effort from the number 38 machine, as he's almost a full lap down right now. It's going to be 11 to go as Medina crosses the line. Chad Ross comfortably in second. He's got a large gap over Stephen Page in the number 1 machine. Now Page, he's going to get edged out for third place by James Kaufman, who's able to pass him while Page is in the pits. So Page might be having the same strategy, come out a little bit later, try and track down James Kaufman, but with 10 laps to go, it is the Jose Medina show. Chad Ross whittling away at that gap, but just not quite enough. He was only a second faster his last time by. So Jose Medina with 10 laps to go, 9 once he crosses the line, doing a fantastic job at this tricky New Hampshire Speedway. Medina, he did a 33 flat his last time by compared to Chad Ross's 32 flat. And the number 24 of Medina's got to be in prime time fuel-saving mode, saying, hey, I can make it to the end here. I've only got 9 laps to go. The finish is in sight for the number 24. And he's doing a great job having to slow that number 24 down almost to a crawl coming out of the corners. Medina, he's got 8 laps to go at New Hampshire. It is his race to lose at this point. He has a 26-second gap over Chad Ross, but at one point, Medina had lapped the entire field. Ross came in for a final pit stop in a move of desperation to try and get back out there and hot lap as hard as he possibly can. He was about 2 seconds a lap faster than Medina, so he is whittling away at the gap, but with 8 laps to go, just not enough time on this 1 mile racetrack to make his way back around. 7 laps to go as Medina crosses the line. Medina, he clicked off a 33.15 his last time by, compared to Chad Ross's 31.65. James Kaufman, he came in on lap 85, did a 32 flat in his last lap. All these guys doing a great job, just really driving very well, very smart, able to keep those race cars underneath them. We saw a couple of near moments, but look at this. Jose Medina has to come in with 7 laps to go. He's going to find himself about 20 seconds behind Chad Ross. If he takes a full pit stop here, the gap is going to be rapidly closing. Let's take an eye on Chad Ross in the number 38. Chad Ross, he's rapidly approaching Jose Medina. Medina in and out. No, in. He's still in the pits. So Jose Medina is going to lose the lead here with 6 laps to go. Chad Ross takes over the lead. How quickly can Medina get out of there? He's taken 4 tires and just enough fuel, but he's going to find himself about 15 seconds back from Chad Ross. 6 laps to go. Medina, he's been not the absolute fastest race car when it comes to putting down hot laps, but he has been extremely consistent. So let's see, can Medina just light the fire underneath him in the 24 machine? Medina finds himself 6 laps short on fuel with a 13-second gap to Chad Ross. It's 5 laps to go. Medina's going to have to find a lot of speed very, very quickly to try and catch up to Ross, but just like that, things really shaking up here in the final round of the FEG PC Cup Series before we begin the Chase playoffs. Man, what a huge upset that late in the run. Medina's going to be putting down some blistering fast lap times. He's got a 12-second disadvantage. He's closing fast, but it's going to be 4 laps to go as Chad Ross crosses the line. Can Medina pull off a miracle here, or is Chad Ross going to have the play of the game coming in on lap 70 for tires and fuel? It'll be 3 to go once Ross crosses the line. Medina, he's about 11 seconds back and finds himself almost 2 seconds a lap faster than Ross, but just not enough laps here in the race. 3 to go as Ross crosses the line. Medina's whittled down the gap to 10.5 seconds. You can see on the screen there, Medina is driving the wheels off that number 24. It's a 9.8 second gap. We're about to see some of the best hot laps of Medina's career as he puts down the second fastest lap of the race at 30.75. He is about, call it 1.5-ish seconds a lap faster than Chad Ross right now, but Ross driving very, very well. He's still in tire saving mode. Medina's whittled down the gap to 9 seconds in closing. 2 laps to go as Chad Ross crosses the line. I don't think Medina's going to be able to catch him here. He has the pace, but just not enough laps in New Hampshire. Chad Ross will take the white flag this time by. He's going to dive it deep into turn 3. Medina's whittled down the gap to 7.5 seconds, driving the absolute wheels off the 24, but just not enough laps after he led dominantly the entire race. And again, Medina lapped through the entire field at one point, but the white flag is out as Chad Ross is going to make his way around the New Hampshire Speedway one more time. So now Ross is being very, very careful. He knows he still has about a 6.8 second gap over second place Medina. Now Medina is driving very, very fast, but the last thing Ross wants to do right now is push too hard late in the run and find himself giving a little bit of a love tap to the wall. So Chad Ross, the number 38 machine, is going to bring it around for the final time here at New Hampshire, and he's going to bring home the win here going into the playoffs. So well done to Chad Ross. A great finish for him tonight. Ross has been searching for it all season, so he's going to be ecstatic to bring home his very first win for the FEG PC Cup Series. And a great job for the 38 driver. The fuel and pit strategy really paid off for him. He ran a very clean race today. Jose Medina is going to bring it in second. James Kaufman will bring it in third after a little bit of pit strategy as well. And the number 38 is going to do a well-deserved victory burnout. He's got to be absolutely ecstatic right now. Chad Ross on 38, picking up his very first win of the season. Well done to him. He absolutely earned it. A great strategy really helped him bring it home at the end, as he's going to give a little bit of tail tap to the wall. That way, if there's a post-race inspection, he doesn't have to worry about any measurements getting skewed or anything if maybe he's not entirely in spec in that next-gen NASCAR. But well done, Chad Ross. He's got to be feeling fantastic right now. Everyone's going wild for him. And that's the thing here at FEG PC. All these guys are friends on and off the track. So when you can see a friend get their first win, everybody's excited for him. And a great, great run, winning it on pit strategy there at the end. His lap 70 pit really paid off, as we saw Medina have to come in with 6 laps to go. And that was going to unfortunately cost Medina the win, as Chad Ross uses up all the tires and all the motor here at New Hampshire, and just going to park it right there. We're waiting to get our drivers up in the interview. We've got James Kaufman bringing it home in third, and the number 3 machine. James, that looked like a tough race for a lot of drivers here tonight, as the track looked like it got very tight very quickly.
Yeah, it was fun. A lot of these guys are faster than I am, so I just try to keep it on track and go and be steady.
Well, Jim, it seemed to work out for you. You brought home your very first podium so far of the season. Your previous best was a 6th, so, you've got to be ecstatic here so far.
Oh, yeah, it's almost feels as good as a win.
Now, Jim, as that run developed, I know the cars were getting tighter and tighter. It was reflected in the race lines, the race times. How are you feeling midway through some of those runs? Was the car still fun to drive, or was it just holding on for dear life and praying it didn't get pushy on you?
No, they were pretty predictable. You knew what it was going to do, and the track was wide enough you could catch yourself up above if you did get in a little hard. So, but it was pretty predictable.
Well, Jim, great job tonight. Congratulations on your series best finish. Before I let you sign off and celebrate, is there anybody you'd like to thank that may be cheering you on from across the world tonight?
I seriously doubt if anybody's watching me, actually.
Well, Jim, that's the saddest thing I've heard in the podium booth all season long, but I'm cheering for you, man. So we'll wake it up here. Jim would like to thank all his friends, families, and sponsors for tuning in tonight. And the number 3 machine, give him the support that he earns and deserves. And we hope to see you doing well in the upcoming round at Indianapolis, because, Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but you should be in the playoffs right now.
I think so, actually, yep, for somehow.
Well, Jim, we're going to hope to see you do well. We hope to see you back at the podium, and we're going to outsource some people to cheer you on because, man, you earned it tonight.
All righty. Thank you very much.
All right, up next, you've got second place, Jose Medina. Jose, what an absolute heartbreak tonight. You were the odds-on favorite. At one point, you lapped the entire field. At what point did you look down at that fuel gauge and go, oh, no, we might not make it here?
Yeah, I had enough fuel. And I had enough fuel to make it. It's just the tire was going out on me. When I shot past me, I realized that, damn it. Can I push a little bit further? And then I realized, no way I'm going to make it. No way I'm going to hold it off. So I went in, and then I overran my pit box, and yeah.
Well, it happens the best of us. That was a very tough one for all the drivers. I think everybody was kind of struggling and really fighting with it out there in New Hampshire. You did a fantastic job tonight, all things considered. It was great to see you out front, and lapping the entire field was impressive. And you still brought home your all-time highest finish here for the FEG PC Cup Series.
Exactly, man. My most important achievement is during every race is to get a 0x. So when I do that, I'm ecstatic. But hey, it was a good race, and these guys, they're real generous letting me pass them, and they're real good drivers and a lot of teammates in here. So, it was an awesome race.
Yeah, Jose, we talk about it during the broadcast, but everyone here for the FEG PC series, they're friends on and off the track. So if they're not racing, they're hanging out, and everybody's just here for a good time. One more question. I think you just topped Matthew Lee for the overall points, so that's got to be another ego boost for you leaving New Hampshire.
Oh yeah, man. I never imagined this. These guys in this league, man, they're awesome drivers, and I can't even imagine being the top 5. And look at where I'm at. I'm excited, and I'm gonna drink a nice Tecate tonight, and a couple Tecates, and a shot of tequila.
Well, Jose, you earned it, my friend. Before we let you sign off and enjoy that high-quality tequila, is there anybody you'd like to thank that may be cheering you on from across the world tonight?
Yes, I want to give thanks to my buddies, my teammates, Chad Ross. Who else I have? Let me see, Matt Curry. I got Stephen Page. And I had a lot of good teammates in here, and I give a lot of thanks to them. I learned a lot from them, and also to my custom designer on my vehicle, my new ride. It was Derek Fulton from Phantom GTX. He's awesome. He gave us a free ride on beginning of the season, so he gave us a free new next gen car. So, and of course Jeffrey Ford, he's awesome, and to run the league, and one man team, man. I don't know how he does it, but he keeps on doing it. And for you also, James, your broadcasting is awesome. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Jose. Always a pleasure, man. Really excited to see you in the playoffs, and we hope to see you up on the podium more often, man. It's nice having you up here.
Arriba, arriba! Puro Tecate!
That was no way Jose Medina. He is absolutely ecstatic bringing it home with his highest finish so far of the series for the FEG PC Cup Series. And let's get the man of the hour, Chad Ross, the number 38 machine, up in the booth. Ross, how are you feeling after that one, man? Can you hear me now, Chad?
Yeah, I got you now.
All right, there we go. Bringing home
Yep.
the first win so far of the season. You've been consistent all season long, averaging a 6th-place start and a 5th-place finish, but finally bringing it home here on the top box at New Hampshire.
Yeah, it feels good to finally get one done. I feel like I kind of lucked into it because I think Jose had us beat. He just kind of messed up his pit strategy, but I was hoping he was going to get one. But if not, then I'm happy to take it home and finally get my first one in the Cup Series.
Yeah, I think Jose, he said he had enough fuel to make it to the end, but he was worried about tire. He saw the pace you were putting down and goes, oh, no, I might not have enough laps. Or do you think you were going to be able to catch him if Jose stayed out with the current pace you two drivers were running? Or were you a little bit worried you weren't going to have enough laps left?
Once we got to like 30 to go, my tires were already crap, and I just figured I was still going to have a decent finish. So I just said, I'm going to get tires. And then I don't know if I was going to catch him. I mean, but I understand how them tires went to nothing. I think after the first stop, mine was down to like 17% or something after 30-something laps. So I know running 60-something on him, he was probably about to blow one.
Yes.
But on even tires, he was definitely outrunning us all.
Yeah, I mean, great run from all of you guys. You put on a show despite having a smaller field here tonight. I think some of the guys that were locked in playoff opted to take tonight off. I mean, are you feeling good going into the playoffs next week? Are you going to be pretty comfortable in Indianapolis, or just kind of apprehensive of what's about to happen as everybody's going to be pushing hard?
You know what? Indies is one of my maybe one of my better tracks, or one of the tracks I like. It's kind of technical, so I feel good going into there. So we'll see what happens.
We're looking forward to seeing you up in the podium more often. You've been up here a few times this season, but the very first time on the tippy top box. Before we let you sign off and pop that champagne, Ross, is there anybody you'd like to thank? The floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Hey, just like always, let's thank Jeff for putting it on, you for broadcasting, and thankful for the guys on our team. I wish Jose, I was cheering for Jose. I swear he should have got that one. But we'll see you guys next week.
All right, Chad. Always a pleasure. We'll see you next week, my friend.
Thank you.
And that is going to do us for the final round leading up to the chase for the FEG PC Cup Series. A great run from all these drivers. Well done everybody had pretty much their series best finishes here tonight. Don't miss anything. We'll be back next week in Indianapolis as we see these drivers try and battle for the overall championship. On behalf of FEGPC.net and Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James Easton in the booth, always bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second. We'll see you next week.